You're listening to the New Old Heads podcast, shot live every Tuesday at twitch.tv/newoldheads and released every Thursday at noon via bringingdowntheband.com. The show is brought to you by Coleman Dental, Printfinity, Indie CD and Vinyl. Support the show directly by becoming a member at patreon.com/newoldheads.
You are now tuned in to the New Old Heads podcast. I am Major 7. The entire crew is in the building. Starting off with my man Jay Moore. How are you, sir?
You know, just another day, another dollar. You know what the business is.
Get to that paper, brother.
Hey, man, I have no other choice.
I feel you. Them bills don't stop, do they?
No, and they send them every month, yo.
You're right. That's a grown person's response right there, every month.
No, it's like, didn't I just pay for this?
Yeah.
And it's like, yeah, you did.
My man Lonegevity, how are you, sir?
I am doing all right, man. Thanks for asking. Just over here with technology in my hands and my palms and trying to figure stuff out.
Hey, that's what you do.
Yeah,
That's what you do. Good to see you, brother.
Yeah, you too.
Jay Diff, what's happening, man?
Salutations.
Everything good?
Thanks, copacetic, sir.
Copacetic. I like that.
There we go.
Yep.
Means you're in a good space, right?
Indeed.
Okay. All right. I got logged into the chat, so we'll see who's going to pop up in this thing here in a little bit. Good to see you, brothers, as always. What's is it Up in All the Smoke? Matt Barnes and
All the Smoke, yeah.
Something about smoke.
Steven Jackson, yeah.
Steven Jackson. This was a question that I saw them ask. I think it was Freddie Gibbs. And this one was, I like this one. They asked him if there was one album that was being recorded that you could go back and sit in on a studio session. What would it be and why? If there was an artist, you could go back to the session when they were recording it and be a fly on the wall, essentially. And I thought about it. And for me, it was, matter of fact, I gotta go y'all first because this is a question that we know so much music. We love different types of artists, but I'll come to you first, Lone. Is there any album that you could think of, just one off the top of your head, where you like, man, I wish I was in there when they were making that album?
No.
You can't think of one?
I just don't care.
Consistent. That's what I like.
He's
man.
consistent, very consistent.
I really can't think of any.
Nobody that you're a fan of that much?
Yeah, plenty of people I'm a fan of, just none that I would be interested in being a studio person where I'm just hanging out watching what they're doing. Maybe 10, 15 years ago, maybe.
Oh, you're saying not at this point? Okay.
Nah, at this point, no, I don't care.
Okay. I can respect it.
But the thing that keeps coming to mind is like, not even like hip hop though. I'm thinking like, what were the studio sessions like with like Quincy and Michael and stuff like that?
There we go. There we go.
Like what does
there we go.
Like Genesis, like when they were making stuff with Phil Collins, and
Peter Gabriel.
Yeah, Peter Gabriel.
I like that.
Stuff like that. How does Elton John record? Like stuff like that.
Nice.
But hip hop wise, nah, especially nowadays. I mean,
my answer wasn't going to even be hip hop. It would be Stevie Wonder.
Songs in the Key of Life.
Bingo. That's the one I would want to see.
Especially if they're like writing music down for him.
I'm with that. I would actually ride with Stevie Wonder or.
You heard what he said.
I heard him. Yeah.
That's
or like Outkast, either Aquemini or AT-Aliens.
Oh, that's a good one.
Yeah.
I love AT-Aliens. The ones Lone named, especially like.
Yeah, like Thriller or even Off the Wall.
Yeah.
To have Mike actually finding himself. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, early Mike.
Yeah. Because those were both Quincy Jones era albums, you know what I'm saying? So
Quincy was that guy back then.
I think the thing that like interests me is just generally like a producer working with artists as opposed to just like hip hop artists like grabbing a beat and doing like I don't care.
Like watching the interaction between the two.
I know that process. I just don't care.
I think I would be scared to be a part of a Parliament Funkadelic recording.
That would be kind of cool.
That would be crazy.
That might be nuts.
You know what? There
was a whole lot of stuff going on in them recordings.
That might actually be one that I would choose, and the only reason why is because one, it would be nuts, but also like I've made music in the studio where they recorded most of their albums up in Detroit.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, when I did the Red Bull Music Academy thing, I was in there. I literally saw like their uniforms are like on display there and stuff.
Tight.
And so I've been in those studios and all that stuff.
I'm sure that was a vibe to be in
It
there.
is different. It's it was super interesting. But
What about another one was that came to my mind would be Hitsville in Detroit.
Yeah, that's where it was, wasn't it? I'm pretty sure.
Were y'all at Hitsville?
Hitsville's where we were.
Y'all were at Hitsville?
Yeah.
I didn't know that's where y'all were at. Where we're at?
Yeah.
Excuse
I'm
me. Then.
pretty sure that's where Parliament recorded all this.
No.
What am I thinking of? There's two of them. There's two of them.
You getting me confused now. Hitsville is
Motown.
Stevie, Temps, Supremes. All
You're
that.
right. You're right.
Yeah. I was about to say, I'm like, wait a minute, did I miss? did I miss something?
Hold on, maybe I have this screwed up. This is a random sidebar. I don't know, because where we were at is where Mick Jagger recorded a lot of stuff, and where Parliament recorded a bunch of stuff. And I thought it was called Hitsville, but maybe it wasn't. Maybe I just had that stuck in my head I know
where you was going.
There was another place that's legendary.
Now you got me. I got to look it up.
So,
Jay Moore, what you think, man?
I would have loved to been in the sessions with, or just been a fly on the wall for Prince, Purple Rain, just because, a lot of things. This is movies. This is music. This is TV shows. The greatness or the whackness is found in the edit and what you leave off.
There's still stuff tucked away from them sessions.
Facts.
I saw someone had put something together about when it was just Star Wars, when there was no episodes on it. Just what you consider to be, when that movie was saved by the editor. Because it was like there was a whole bunch of beats that just weren't going to be right, and the movie would have been too long, and it would have been boring in spots had they not like the first cut of Star Wars. If that's what they would have released, we're probably not talking about Disney Plus, all these
Disney
years
Plus
later.
Is lit, by the way.
Or at least we're not talking about Star Wars content being on Disney Plus, because that would have been it for the franchise. And so I think certain albums could be that way. I feel that's why a lot of Prince albums are.
Wait, John Williams scored.
Yeah, John Williams.
He scored.
What's
called? Okay.
But when you think about Prince, kind of what he decides to keep, and what I think that's the difference a lot of times in not just Prince albums, but anybody's albums. What they decide to keep, and he just the sequencing, how the transitions were done. When this was a single, everything is still single bass, but like basically Purple Rain all flows together. It's not just like, okay, we're going to fade out. There's some songs like that, but that's just the perfect mix of ballads, rock songs, the R&B, the funk, all of his influence culminated up to that point and creating something that is just timeless in Purple Rain. Like I like to listen to Purple Rain as it is. I hate when I don't want to listen to the remaster. I don't want to listen to the 40th anniversary or whatever year release they've put out. I want to listen to Purple Rain as it was released when the movie came out.
With the cracks.
That's how it was. That's how he wanted it, and that's how I would rather listen to it.
With Prince.
Probably the other one, of course, because I'm such a fan of Jimmy Jam and Terry Lewis.
I know what you're gonna say. I think
I'd be more interested. I know you're probably thinking I'll say Any Heartbreak.
That's what I thought.
I would say Any Heartbreak just because like the members of the group had so much tension going on at the time. But seeing them take Janet Jackson, who had been a failed act up to that point,
true.
And seeing them create Control and turning her into basically the other black person that they would play on MTV at the time.
Hey, look, with Prince, it would be everything you said. I can rock with that, but it would be for me just to see him play multiple instruments because Prince could play. Man, I lost count. I mean, they said the instruments he could play.
No, he would play all the instruments on his album.
That's what I want to see.
Same thing as Stevie Wonder, though.
Facts. Yeah. I would love to see him, pick the bass up and then lead guitar and then go sit at the drums and
then go have pancakes, play a round of basketball,
and come back and finish it off. Yeah, but give Charlie Murphy 30 and then come on back.
But with Jimmy Jam and Terry Lewis, I'm just thinking like that was so much of a new sound that they created that is really the basis for basically any.
That whole Minnesota sound was kind of
that. But if you think about every basically female R&B pop princess that has come since the Control album came out, like if not for that album, if not for that sound, if not for how that was put together, there's no Christina Aguilera, there's no Britney Spears, there's no Sierra, there's no Beyonce.
Sound Systems, Detroit is the place. That's
the place. Okay, you're looking out,
and the building looks similar too. It's like a Detroit-looking building. So
David is snapping in the thread. He said Thriller. He said Kinda Blue, Miles Davis. Now that's a good one. Yeah, that's one of my favorite albums.
Probably kind of cloudy in that recording session too.
That's a good one. He has Dilla. Welcome to Detroit too. I would. It would be cool to maybe be in Dilla's basement.
I agree.
You
I got a
know,
record
like
from
when
his collection.
when
It's
he-
not one he actually used, but it's from his collection.
I remember that.
Is that when? Because
But like,
is that
you
when
talking
him and
about the
Common were living
process.
together in California or Detroit? I remember at one point they were roommates.
Mm-hmm.
Who's that? Common?
Yeah.
Yeah, they were roommates at one point.
I think they were roommates in California. But there's a story about how Royce the 5'9" tells where he went over to Dilla's basement and he went out. He was like, "Yeah, I got something to drink." He went upstairs to the refrigerator and Common was just chilling on the couch.
Yeah, I remember that story.
So, but
How cool would that have been?
like random, you know, like, oh, it's Common. Yeah. No.
What's up, man?
But I feel like Dilla's basement would be super cool because he brought Erykah Badu there. He used to bring everybody to Detroit, so who knows what that would be like, you know?
Oh, Erykah Badu
Soulquarian
album would be kind of
time.
Yes.
check.
yes, them.
Listening to it being recorded too as well.
Yeah, Mama's Gun would be a
Mama's
real
Gun.
interesting. Those would be some interesting sessions.
David said Marvin Gaye, what's going on? That's a good one.
I'm more interested in the
really
behind
good
the scenes because, you know, of course, Berry Gordy was like, could you please give me some hit records instead of making this whole thing about the Vietnam War and the environment. I need some love songs.
I need some records.
You know,
I need an actual just Motown movie, not just centered on one group, but just that whole story altogether.
That would be hard to cast.
that
though.
would need to be a Netflix like,
Yeah.
and we would
Series.
How many
3 or
parts we
4
need?
seasons.
Yeah.
Oh, seasons.
Absolutely. You would have to have it in season.
I would prefer HBO do it.
Mm.
You got HBO.
So it can be unrestricted.
Yeah, I don't know. I feel like HBO just does a better job in general. To me, they're like the
They're too busy canceling
they're
stuff.
like the
There's some-
Mercedes to the Toyota. I don't know.
I don't know.
Dang.
I don't know because like, well, all these streaming platforms in a level of trouble. But HBO is yanking like they're about to yank Westworld off the platform.
Oh, for real?
Yeah. Because since they're canceling the show, like remember they canceled. They basically
They'll
had
bring
a whole,
it back though. That same thing they had taken like The
Really?
Wire and Sopranos off for a while. And then
But
brought them back.
they had a whole Batgirl movie finished and just are writing it a whole off as a loss without.
Dang.
No one's going to get to see it.
Batgirl
It was completed.
There's yes.
from HBO.
Yes. Like they're
What?
like it looks like they're going to cancel Superman and there's no going to be no Wonder Woman 3, which is not a big loss because Wonder Woman 2 was cheeks.
That's interesting though. Like
Wonder Woman 84 rather.
I wonder why they would pull
Wrong
it though.
nerd.
I mean,
It's I don't know, like all these like
a weird conflict of
subscribers because now everything's so segmented. And I know we're getting a nerd business talk and we'll get out of it, but it's just like now nobody really has. All these companies are losing money,
Right.
and so I don't know if HBO versus Netflix, like it would be like, it's not too much of a difference at this point. You know, because now what Netflix is introducing a tier with commercials, and I think HBO Max is doing the same thing. I was like,
Oh, are they?
this is why we got away from regular TV.
Nah,
So
for sure.
we're not here for the commercials. I'm I still haven't done it. I keep telling myself like, I need to just go ahead and pay the extra $4 or whatever it is on Hulu, so I don't have to look at.
Yeah, I'm not doing that.
I'm used to it, but at the same time, I'm like, sometimes it'll be like that last little minute and a half of the show, and it'll go ahead and show commercials between that. And I was like, ugh, this is
I can go grab a snack real quick.
yeah.
Come back and it'll
Because
be
quite
back.
honestly, I'm as my friend Dawn say, I'm tired of paying for stuff.
Yeah,
I heard that.
straight up.
Through conversation, I think this comes up here and there. Well, actually, it depends on who you're talking to. It might come up more than it should. But the phrase that the bar has been lowered in rap, is that a hating phrase, or is that just your personal assessment as to things are? Because I don't necessarily see that as hate per se. It's more of just your personal opinion and how you assess how rap is at the moment. You guys see what I'm saying?
It's consumer driven. Consumers want the easy to listen to, kind of compared to like a nursery rhyme. So if I can memorize this hook and this song is in and out real quick, consumers digest the dumbed down version, so to speak, more so than they embrace the more lyrical part of hip hop. You know what I'm saying? I think that has a lot to do with it. But as far as overall, just mainstream wise, if we're talking about like underground and artists from that realm, no, I wouldn't say so. Just basically just mainstream.
So in the mainstream, you talking strictly mainstream
and consumers. That's what they want to hear.
Us being in the microwave era where everything is
a majority of consumers.
Got it.
Say that.
Got it.
Pop culture consumers.
I'm not mad at that. More talk to me, man. What's up with that in terms of the bar being lowered?
I think that's just I think that's just some hate. I'll be honest.
You think that's hate?
I think it's definitely hate because, you know, whenever you talk about commercial music,
Okay.
Music that is given to the masses is most easily digested. You know, you can, if you're a certain age, you'll be like, oh, this was so good. This is so good. And it's just dumbed down. And like, I remember, you know, if you'd have talked to Dennis Edwards and David Rufford at the time, it could have been, you know, 1988 or whatever. They'd be like, man, they just don't sing about love anymore. I saw them.
I saw that
They
interview.
were
I know
singing
what you're
about
talking
love and then giving women knuckle sandwiches.
I mean, we're not gonna get in all that. But what I'm
He
saying,
ain't lying though.
my whole thing is, you know, at a certain point,
Everything
It's not-
ain't hate, bro.
I know at a certain point, what is popular and mainstream just isn't for you anymore, and you can't be upset that you are out of that core demographic. It's like whenever like an award show comes on and you go on social media and someone will say, I just don't know any of these groups. This music is trash. It's not. You're 47 years old. This isn't for you anymore. You know, I remember when Ari Spears, like, got his own problems, but like I do remember when he said this, you know, he said, if you put Little Uzi Vert and Young Thug and these people, but you put them up against Jay-Z, Nas, and Biggie, it would be like, you know, the NBA playing the Special Olympics. And I'm like, yeah, but if you put them up against, there's some other people, if you took from this generation, they would be comparable. You don't know them as well. You just, you know, you're just picking on these people that you think are whack because it's not your music. And once again, I'm never going to be that person. Look, I still work, like I said, in a situation where I'm around new music. And a lot of times, you know, I'm working with my man, DJ Lockstar, shout out to him. And we're just back there laughing at how comical like some of this stuff is to us. And we're not laughing with them. We're laughing at them.
Right.
But we understand that like these are hit songs. This is what they want to hear.
Right.
But we realize it's not for us. It's not what we listen to in our spare time. And if we wanted to go in there and play, like, okay, we're going to go in here and play, we want to play for them, we'd have an empty club every week.
Got to make that money.
It's not, sometimes a lot of times it's about, you know, people reckoning with the fact that they're getting old and they're not the core demographic of what, you know, quote unquote mainstream. Now you're not even supposed to be listening to the station playing quote unquote blazing hip hop and R&B or whatever the taglines are. You're supposed to be listening to the adult AC station now where they're
I don't even think it's just older people that say that though.
I don't like to, once again, if you talk to somebody in 1995, they was hating on Biggie. They was hating on all the stuff that sounded like, oh man, them samples are too. They was hating on the music then. They was hating on the music in 2000. They're hating on the music in 2005. They're gonna hate when it's. Once it's no longer their music.
I'm with you, but I think it more prevails much more into the 2000s because when Biggie and them were getting played, people were happy, especially hip hop fans, to actually hear them getting play. You know what I'm saying? I think that more so happened. It took like a weird turn in like 2000, 2001, that era and on. It kind of was like, all right, let's start separating. So you got this sound. Now you got the snap music sound. Oh, I don't like that because that's this, that, and the other. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? Or we got the D4Ls and
they had a wave.
And you know what I'm saying? Pretty much when ATL was all of them were getting on. But they all had different styles, but a lot of people critiqued a lot of those because they figured it wasn't real hip hop.
But also
Outkast encountered that at the Source Awards.
But because a lot of times it got to a point where like we don't do this here because everything was so New York centric at one point. But also it's like there's always been that disposable, you know, let's go ahead and grab this money now element of hip hop. Mm-hmm. Like
every era has
there's that one song, you know, don't get me wrong, like remember how at one point you couldn't get away from Freak Nasty to Dip? You know, I don't know any other Freak Nasty songs.
I wasn't mad at that though.
Yeah, you weren't because you know what? That's your era. You remember when you was outside.
I remember going to get the single for.
I wasn't mad at Freak Nasty.
You know, but
tag team. Whoop, there it is. I went and copped the tape.
I was one of those people. I was like, I don't know why y'all like this. Woot. WHOOT is a much better record.
It was two versions, right? It was the
Whoop, there it is, and Whoop,
and then Whoop, there it is.
90. Am I saying it right?
95 South.
95 South boys, and who was the other one?
Tag team.
Tag team.
Tag team is the one everyone knows.
See, Lone know.
You know, because
Jock Jams.
Because think about it. There's a lot of Jock Jams rap. There was songs, and like that was the disposable snap music of its day.
Lone.
Hi.
Hello. Can you assess music in today's music and wherever you want to go, underground, whatever? I know we talked about, more mainstream. Can you assess music fairly without being, I guess, old or being a hater?
I think you can. I understand what you're saying, Jay. I do, and to some degree, I think there's truth to that. But what I have pulled up here on the screen is something that I watch fairly. You guys can't see it, but there's a Vox video called "Why We Really, Really, Really Like Repetition in Music." And what I like about this video, I actually show my students, is sometimes I show it for a different reason, because a lot of times as creators, sometimes we have this instilled idea that if it repeats, it's not as good as something that is changing all the time. But musically is inherently repetitious. And as humans, we are biologically, we enjoy that. But this chart that I'm looking at right now talks about popular music repetition by year, and we can literally see this. You guys can see
it's trending up or whatever.
The more, the second line here is all songs, and then it's like how much repetition in music is creation now is happening, and we can see the music has always been repetitious. And we've known this about popular music for a very long time. Jay, you were in radio, so you know this all too well. And we've all heard the rumors about how they used to make music for like 7 and 8-year-olds to be able to repeat and remember stuff, right?
Right.
I don't know how true that is. I'm guessing that is true, but I don't know where that came from. But my point of saying all this is that repetition in music has gone up quite a bit. And when repetition goes up, it has this illusion of being kind of simple, dumbed down, which it kind of is. Let's just be real. If you're saying the same thing over and over and over again, that is super simple. It's just kind of what it is.
Right.
It doesn't mean though that it's necessarily bad or not. It just kind of depends on what you like and what you kind of listen for. So I think the whole statement in general is just it just depends on who you're talking to. That's realistically. Fair. But I think that we could definitely make an argument that music has become more repetitious, and popular songs have become more repetitious.
It's the most popular genre out there. So.
And if you view repetition, and a lot of repetition in some manner as,
quote unquote, being dumbed
down, then you can make the argument that yes, it is. And there is data that backs that up. So that would be my argument to it.
I ain't about to sit. I can dig that. But I'm not about to sit there in front and say I was one to listen to Poor Righteous Teachers all day versus NWA.
For sure.
You know what I'm saying?
That's fair.
And people could say, well, that's dumbed down. No, not really.
There's styles of music for all different types of moods. That's the inherent purpose of music.
Yep. It's kind of like the example I made the other week about Master P and Jay-Z.
Right.
It's all of the delivery. It's like, well, if he's not saying it like this, then that's dumb.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Whereas that's how somebody else relates to it versus how you want to kind of relate to it at a more, so to speak, stimulating
Or it's like based around the type of production that you enjoy, right? If you like these southern type of beats from that area, maybe you like a little bit of bounce influence in your, even though No Limit didn't really have a lot of bounce influence.
Cash Money did.
Cash Money did,
definitely.
But No Limit didn't really have a lot. But let's say you really like that style of music as opposed to this classical boom bap style, then you're and vice versa, and vice versa. You know,
that's when Terry made that point. It was a while back, but it shows you how easy your music snob can creep in, like as it relates to how you look at things. Because the two examples that he used, both of them said the same thing. Mm-hmm. But music is so subjective. It's like my palate. I want to hear it over Primo versus Beats by the Pound.
And people,
you see what I'm saying?
And if you have this argument and it's about New York, you're going to have the 47 to 55-year-old purists that come out from New York that say, well, it's just, it originated here and it's always going to be better here. And, they're digging through samples and they're fine. There's so much hidden meaning. It's like, okay, bro, cool.
And sometimes it's time and place, man. Like as much as when before I turned 21 and I was sitting up, listening to, my little underground tapes and, because I would sit in with a couple of my buddies who had a hip hop show on the college station I worked at. Shout out to everybody who ever worked at or enjoyed WIDB in Carbondale, Illinois. and I that was the music I was drawn to. But once I got, turned 21, and I wanted to be around, the pretty girls who was drinking the nice drinks, I'm sorry, I had it, like I turned 21 in 1998, like right when it was the bling era, if you will.
Yeah.
We were coming into that, not the bling era. That would be the shiny suit era.
No,
I guess.
this 98.
Shiny. So
Shiny
we coming off of
DMX.
We're coming off of No Way Out. We're coming off of Mace Double Up, and we didn't get to DMX until that really got popping late 98, 99. But I'm telling you, like, if you wanted to dance with the pretty girls in the nice dresses, you better get used to hearing some of those songs. Now, when I would go to the little underground spot, you was
a bully in them spots.
In at the Duck Room, when I was at the in the U City Loop.
Yeah.
Shout out to my man. Formerly DJ Needles, that's who he was at the time, James Biko now, and when it would be that spot and the girls who were there wanted to hear that music, then it was, time and place, man. I'm just saying time and place.
Right.
Because sometimes that repetitive music, that's what makes the pretty girls do pretty girl
dance
things.
music. I mean, think of like the percolator, man. People dance to the percolator.
People act like that's brand new.
It's time for the percolator.
Every time.
It's like, I mean,
That's
but
it.
you know what I mean? But
It works.
It's footwork. I mean, people like it and it switches up a little bit,
And
it's
sometimes
music.
it's just where, look, I remember the first time I heard the percolator, I was like, you mean you're kidding?
No,
Because,
for sure.
Because we didn't do that in St. Louis.
When I heard
But
it,
I was
when
around,
I was in Chicago and I heard it.
Oh,
Nah,
no.
we used to play that
Completely
at school dances in high school here.
But then I was around some pretty girls from the south side of Chicago and I heard it. I was like, oh, this ain't that bad.
Well, you ain't seen it till
they
you
used to
see it at,
run it.
at
Yeah.
a spot in Chicago, boy. It's
Hey.
different. That footwork come out. It's different.
Nah, cats here was hip to that. They would do the same dance and everything when I was in high school.
To Terry's point, I saw it and I heard it, but when I moved there, man, it was completely different.
No, it's
completely different.
The first college party I went to, because like I said, everybody I went to school with is from the west side or south side of Chicago. So I remember, I'm like, when y'all gonna play some Snoop or some Dre? When you gonna play some big? Like, what is this? I mean, like, because when I'm thinking dance music, I'm not thinking the people who look like this. You know what I'm saying? Like, it was
gangsters on the floor doing footwork.
No, I mean, because that was the crazy thing. It was like, the warehouse where, quote unquote house music, like, it was basically a gay club.
Yeah.
But the most gangster of the gangster would be in there getting loose. So I mean, that was a culture shock. Even though St. Louis and Chicago aren't that far away from each other, huge culture shock.
Yeah, I remember for the longest time I didn't realize that like techno was like a black music genre. I thought it was a white music genre.
That kind of originated in Chicago.
Well, it originated in Detroit.
Well, Detroit, but
then
there's a lot of
and then it changed.
DJs that popularized the house scene in Chicago.
There's a difference between
house and techno.
Techno and house, right. So it's
You're
ghetto tech, and then they adapted it from. This is another thing. Randomly, got 2 shots out to the Detroit Red Bull thing I did. I learned all that there, and I had no idea.
Yeah,
I was just like, what? I thought this was just white people dancing around.
It was sold. Well, not sold, but that's what I heard. That's what I had always heard. I automatically thought, okay, that's just what I used to call techno music or glow stick music.
Right.
That's what I thought. I'm like, that's just the white crazy parties and
the
everybody jumping around and spilling beer.
The stuff at raves, so where white people do a lot of drugs at. And I didn't want no parts of that.
I thought that's what it was until, you know what I'm saying, I started meeting people
That's
from
conditioning,
Detroit.
man.
It is. It is.
They had my mind. Long as get out. Like they had my mind. But when I started talking to people from Chicago and from Detroit, and they're like, nah. There's 12 more layers that you missing.
And the thing is, when I hear it, I was like, okay. I'm sorry. Like the Detroit jit music. I remember one time I was like, man, if you don't turn this off, but like I was like,
I'm still like the biggest house fan.
No,
like
I
that.
made the CD. I made a CD for
like
somebody's
house.
wedding, and I was like,
there's different.
right.
I like some
There's different
house.
types
There's
of house.
there's
though.
different styles. Like I like the house music that's super vibey, man. It's got like a lot of chords into it and stuff like that.
where you can
And-
tell it's got a little bit of influence from disco, but it's taking
sure.
it to the next level. But some of the stuff they call house music that y'all playing is not house
The
music.
one that I can't grasp or get my hands on is the one that Shaq DJs. The
Techno,
is it
he does.
EDM? Does he do
EDM, techno.
It's probably like dubstep type stuff, EDM or something. I don't know, man.
That was not a.
It's like
I hated that time when I was working
like
in
it's
clubs and the EDM
huge.
took over. I was like, ugh.
I can't stand
I'd have to play it.
It's cocaine music.
That's what Shaq
gotta
be
be
DJing.
high.
That.
I was
That's
listening.
it.
I said this sounded like PlayStation 1 music,
I can't stand it.
like from the game
And the people,
Wipeout.
the people are holding on to the rails. Like
I
just
can't
going
stand
with
it.
the
I
beat.
remember being in Vegas,
Bro.
and the only after hours club was one of those. And I remember walking in like, I cannot do this.
It's so loud.
I was there
man.
for like 5 minutes and walked right out.
I don't do the kind of drugs that would make me enjoy this music.
Bro, it's
Not
too
at all.
loud in there. First of all, to Lone's point, I can't hear anything that's going
Loud
on.
and annoying, and I hate to just crap on somebody's preferred music, but I can't do it, man.
I apologize, y'all, but it's.
I mean,
But I knew dubstep
back
was
in a-
over when they did it. There was,
Dubstep.
yeah, EDM, dubstep, whatever. I just knew that was over when there was this game called Saints Row, and
I remember
there was a
Saints Row.
there was a dubstep gun
Oh,
that would
hell.
make the noises when you would shoot people. Yeah, I was like, yeah, this is about to be over.
Nah, I'm cool.
That's
I'm cool.
bad.
To each his own now, y'all. Cause Shaq be DJing for the place be having like 20, 15,000
He
people
was just
in there.
here
It was
doing it.
crazy.
Yeah,
oh, for real.
doing foam parties.
I mean,
Yeah.
There we go.
back in the day when we were doing some Hinks Jones stuff and performing, I did some like I played at Motor Stock once, and it's an electronic music festival.
You did a set?
Yeah, I did. Me and Clarence.
A Hinks Jones set.
But we mixed it with like heavy guns, so like Gray and shouts to Gray and Freddie Buns and Brookins was there, Oreo was there.
Where was I at?
Not
I
here.
wasn't even here. Okay.
No, you weren't
Probably
even
in
here.
DC.
Okay.
Yeah, this was. But yeah, I mean, I played a handful of shows like that. It's just different. I would say the crowd is
crowds
typically
are lit.
open to whatever,
Yeah.
which is
They
cool.
lit too. The crowds at
Man,
those
you gotta
shows are lit.
realize if that's where your musical taste lays
Yeah.
or lies, you're probably going to be into a whole lot of different stuff.
That's true. That is one. You know what? I will give it to those audiences. They are willing to go on a ride with you.
Yeah.
Them
you
kids
know.
be out there having fun.
Yeah, so
Like, it's crazy.
It's not a whole bunch of people with putting their phone in your face like, hey, when you gonna play some Megan?
Or that new Bad Bunny.
And that's the. Hey, why
You
you
sound like Fonzie Bear.
Yeah.
Lone said. Nah, man, those crowds are ridiculous. Them kids be out there having a good time. So I ain't mad at them, man. Enjoy. And I
They
don't
can
see
go
this.
slam
I don't
dance
see phones.
All they want, as long as I'm not in the vicinity.
Yeah, I need to be. What you say? We getting to the age now where
I need a
do they have
seat.
a suite? They have places
Yeah.
where old
I need
folks
to
can
be able to
sit.
sit down somewhere
Yeah.
in a suite or,
You can sit.
off to the side.
You can sit at the jazz festival. You can sit get you a good seat at the jazz festival. Get you some white linen. You'll be all
I
right.
mean, I don't need the white linen.
I asked Jay Moore 3 years ago.
What?
I said
Say that one more time.
3 years ago. I said
3 years ago.
and 3 years ago. I said, bro, that linen suit era is getting close to you. Now this was two or 3 years ago.
Listen,
Where
man.
are you at now as it relates to time to cop a full linen suit? Are you 5 years away? Or are we 4 years away?
Look, I don't know where I would wear said linen suit.
to a park concert for the Black
Frankie
Expo or
Beverly
something?
and them.
Yeah.
If it's look,
Frank Ocean.
No,
No.
man.
no. First of all, I did
I feel like he.
a few years ago.
Oh, y'all was on the beach?
On the beach.
Yeah, it was
You know,
on
that's
the
the
beach.
typical attire.
Yeah,
if
All
I,
your groomsmen got on a linen
yeah, and
outfit,
a Tommy, nice
wrinkled to
Tommy
hell.
Bahama shirt.
Wrinkled to hell.
So if I'm on, if I get back to a
Come down to
beach,
here.
that'll probably be when I decide to go ahead and do something. Other than that, absolutely not.
I could really see you out there on your water runs dry, like with the
With the
wind
fan blowing.
Yeah,
It was in the desert. I'm not going to the desert anytime either.
I
A
can
super loose fitting shirt.
Yeah, I can see you out there on some water runs dry. We can get the fans and stuff. I can see that.
Singing about your everything I do after you can just put your hand upside her head.
That's actually
Why is domestic violence?
Because that was real toxic back in the day. People was real. It's funny how they
the people who sang the most about love.
They
was
were singing the
doing
most
dirt.
about love, and they was knocking people upside the head.
I think
When they got home.
Who do y'all? is,
Some of them didn't wait till they got home.
Yeah.
so
Now the music is toxic, and people ain't knocking people upside the head.
Yeah,
is
these
Joe
dudes-
is Joe the biggest hater
Who?
Why?
on record? I'm talking. Joe got some hater records.
Joe who?
Joe the singer, the R&B singer.
Oh,
He got some.
he has
he
one.
got some hater
okay,
records. He got an anthem that's a hater record.
All the things your man won't do.
That's
is
a hater record.
A top notch hater record.
Okay.
You know,
all of them had hater records back then.
That's what I'm
that was
saying.
kind of a category of it was like, hey, you know, your man ain't nothing.
Yeah.
I don't think.
That would be the ultimate hate. if that's how you came.
Hey, listen, I probably ain't trying to holler at you.
Yeah, exactly.
If that's
your man's problem, let me leave you alone.
We gonna go ahead and keep on going. We gonna keep on going. I don't want any part of any of this. I will get us back to where we're supposed to be. I don't want anything else from this. Yo, back to what we were talking about with the hater R&B songs. I'm not. Let's go back to Joe or somebody. Somebody help me. We are not about to do. We're not about to do this.
No,
Give me some more, Jay Moore. Straight up.
Look, you know.
Hurry, please.
Okay.
Give me another song. You have to.
The most hater song that could have been was in the 5 Heartbeats, and the thing is, it's not even on the soundtrack. It's when JT and Flash got out there and sang "Just in Case." He's not all that he seems.
That was a hater song. That was a hater song.
That was it, and sang to a woman who was on a date in the movie.
No, that's real. That's real.
That's hate.
real.
That's hate.
Got close, got down close on the floor, like all that. Yeah,
that was the thing to do back then. Is the hate.
Yeah, so top notch hate. I mean, when we talked about hate lovers, on top of being a stalker anthem, LL was hating.
Time out, man.
LL was hating.
We've had this conversation.
Yeah, we're not about to do that because he wasn't
because
stalking
he drank too much and smoked too many blunts. That's none of your business, LL.
Oh man,
that's none of your business.
I'll be working out every day thinking about you.
That's right, and you know what? She might smoke blunts too. Leave him alone.
Oh my God, man.
Hey man,
you big man.
I'm mad. I am mad that you said, "Oh, girl, boyfriend got AIDS."
Yo,
like, oh, is that right? Well, I think this conversation is about over now.
Yeah,
that would be something to put in the hater anthem, I guess. So
I thought it was a great time.
Okay,
to
here's another song that's so smooth you don't realize it's hate. "You Should Let Me Love You" by Mario.
Great song.
Yeah, hate. It's all hate.
Yeah,
nice bridge too. Bridge is fire.
You deserve. Anytime where a dude has a lyric, you deserve better. Hate.
That was going on.
That bridge is fire though.
That was going on out there in them streets though. You know what's funny though is Donnell Jones was so upset and wanted to go figure out where he wanted to be. And then, as soon as he seen her on her date, then he want to come sing in the window.
Yeah, exactly. Here he is.
Come on, man. I thought you made up your mind. You wasn't.
He just
trying to figure it out.
He just got done with doing what he had to do, and he's like, let me go back to my woman now that she's found happiness somewhere else.
Wow.
She on a date with Carl Kanai. Now you want to post up out the window, singing, carrying on.
Oh my God!
And she went outside and took him back.
Yeah, man. Come on now.
That's why, man, we can do all this foolishness because we know you coming back.
Sure, you had an episode that you sound like a little bit on.
Look,
that
I'm
one.
telling you, this is why you know. A lot of women have, and this is just because they've realized that half a man is better than no man at all.
Oh, now you okay?
So this
now
is
you
why
trying to
women
reach,
come
you reaching
back.
out now. Okay, you reaching out to the followers now, huh?
That's a mysterious activity.
So, like I said, you know, we trying to keep violence down in the community. I have a whole thing. You know, if women would just,
do you want them to sing about love,
or
do you want to hear about it in the song being toxic?
Yeah, one way or another.
You got two options. You're gonna get this work though. Just make sure. No, don't do that.
Let me put out a disclaimer.
Oh my God!
I ain't giving nobody no kind of work when it comes to some domestic at all.
Well, I'm glad to know that.
Yeah, I mean, he said you gonna get this work.
No, that's not what.
No,
man. Perhaps you can talk about the.
Hey, I ain't got nothing to do
Perhaps
with
you
that.
can talk about the sponsors.
Yeah, all right, sure.
As we get to talk about domestic violence.
On that note, yeah. Thanks to our partners. Dr. Coleman of Coleman Dental is our go-to dentist. He's a longtime Indianapolis arts and music supporter located right in Broad Ripple. Printfinity is a screen printing shop based in Indianapolis, owned and operated by our own DJ Jay Diff. Our good friends at Indie CD and Vinyl operate one of the best record stores in North America. Shop new and used in their site or visit them in person. And the best way to support the New Old Heads is to visit our Patreon and become a member for as little as $3 a month. All details on newoldheads.com.
But no, Irv Gotti is coming out and said that Baby is the GOAT, best to ever do it, and that Cash
Absolutely
Money,
not.
Cash
Baby
Money
who?
is Baby from Cash Money.
Oh, okay.
And Cash Money is the best.
There's so
record
many
label.
babies out here. You got to specify.
Little Baby, you right. He says Cash Money is the greatest hip hop label. It's not even close.
They're having a really good run. A lot of that thanks to Drake.
Talk to you on your man and your face.
Yes,
I can dig it.
He said, think about it. Juvenile's Hans was like 25 years ago, and they have Drake and Nicki and all this stuff is still going on right now. He said he's the GOAT, and it's Drake and the rest of these the younger artists. I think have extended that run to make it. I ain't gonna say credible, but we can discuss it. How about that? Because he said it's not even close.
Yeah,
I don't know if I agree with that.
Young Thug. I don't know. He wasn't Cash Money, but he was.
Was Thug on Cash Money?
He was. What's the other little sub group or
Young Money?
Not Young Money.
Need Money?
The one that.
Oh my God.
Need money for bail.
It was like
Money?
Young Thug and then somebody else. What is that called?
Like Slime. Like I don't know. Like I don't know these.
It had something to do
It
with
used
Baby.
to be
though.
I knew who labeled somebody was
Yeah,
on. I don't.
It
I'm
had
the wrong
something to do with
person,
Baby.
Everybody's on Epic.
Well, yeah.
Yeah.
Long got an album coming out on Epic.
Epic or Atlantic. Everybody's on Epic or Atlantic, as far as I'm concerned.
So we've been around long enough to have
Rich Gang.
Rich
Okay.
Gang. There we go.
Yeah.
There we
Yeah,
go.
I don't know what the affiliation was, but
Yeah, I know. I know.
He
what you're
definitely
talking
was
about.
under Cash Money.
Yeah.
So
So
dumbest names ever.
Then
know,
everybody's favorite R&B artist, 𝐀𝐄𝐄𝐄.
he's on Cash Money.
okay.
Is it not even close? With you, we've been around long enough to see multiple very successful labels.
You know, Irv has been on some foolishness lately, but I will entertain this
That's
for no
what I
other
want to
reason
talk about.
because when you think about Death Row, that might have been 5-6 years of
But
dominance.
those are some great.
It is, but then like when it was over, it was over.
Okay.
Bad Boy, they had a little bit longer because they were able to extend into having Young Jock and Boys in the Hood, and they and Cassie, and they were able to still but
I
bad.
forgot about Cassie.
But shoot, Diddy's not even on Bad Boy anymore.
Nah, he
He's
said
on-
Bad Boy is a hiatus.
Yeah, so
right now.
I thought 𝐀𝐁 was trying to
On
bring back.
hiatus.
No, it's
No?
not. No, Bad Boy's
Okay.
It's not under Bad Boy though.
He's trying things.
No Limit. I mean, it's No Limit. No Limit's not a thing anymore.
Yeah, they make breakfast cereals.
Yeah.
Oh,
Noodles.
They do.
I
Yeah,
mean,
they
he's
do.
not lying. He's
Shouts
no,
to-
he's not.
shout to
Like
Snoop Loops.
they have transferred.
Would
They
you-
have
I'm gonna get you a box.
transitioned into doing other. Look, and which is smart because when you can't
No, it
sell
is.
records, you better find something to sell. If this is the business you're going to
Master
be
P
in.
is a brilliant
And
business.
so, yeah,
businessman,
we're not
always
we're
been.
not saying that, but we're just saying No
Always
Limit's not a thing anymore.
Sure.
Even when you talk about Murder Inc., they had their run. G Unit had its run.
Unit was
T.
technically Interscope.
Yeah.
I mean,
Aftermath.
but technically, Def Jam is Columbia, and Universal, Rockefeller, all those
That
things
was
are. They're all,
that's-
yeah, but once again, it's all under these umbrellas.
Mhm.
So when you even if you're just talking about it as a boutique label, and
we
that's
know
not
what-
and that's not to dismiss it. You have to have Cash Money in that conversation. You have to. I mean, I'm sorry, like
Yeah, I
you can
agree.
think whatever you want, but for them to have like most of these companies that we even So Def, these companies barely have 10-year runs.
Yeah, I'm doing it.
Some of them only 5 incredible years, but and you're talking about the fact that people still, for whatever you think of the records she put out, people still care about Nicki Minaj records. And this is going, and it's 2022, and I remember when Ha came out in 1998.
That's a long time ago.
You're almost talking about 25 years.
Yeah,
That's
even
what he
before
said.
that.
Yeah, so if you're
I'm
talking about them,
Hot Boy's first album.
so, but if you're talking about, okay, when they came into the national consciousness with the Universal deal, you're talking about almost 25 years.
Yeah.
So, yes, you got to give, I'll entertain it. I'll have the conversation.
Is Nicki? So Nicki was on Cash Money.
Yeah, she's still on Cash Money.
She's still on
I
there.
never followed like.
No, I got you.
Is
I
this
got
like
you.
Cash Money, Young Money, Money something else, a whole bunch of monies? I just can't.
I know
keep up.
when Wayne had his split with, I don't know how that was.
He's still Young Money, which is still the same umbrella. Like
Cash
we're
What is
talking about
Drake?
umbrellas. Drake is Cash Money.
Cash Money.
Cash Money, Young Money.
Young Money? Yep.
He might be
So-
something. I don't know.
It's crazy. It's
No,
mad
I think-
umbrella.
I don't know if
I
he's.
think they still get money off Drake over
Yeah.
there.
I'm not sure if he.
They definitely still get money off Drake.
I'm not
And
sure.
you know who else gets
out of
money
his
off
deal.
Drake somehow? Jay Prince. Jay Prince would not defend Drake and ride for Drake as much as he does if he was not getting a check somehow.
But also,
I'm agree with you.
But also,
I'm
you
agree
got
with
to you got to think about this now. You're talking about where, because even at one point, Cash Money, they had Cash Money Classics where they signed Tina Marie.
Yeah.
They're
They
still.
sure did have
They
to.
even
They're
had
good.
old boy. It was some dude that was doing like a new age jock jam type style. They had PJ Morton signed to Cash Money at one
Great
point in
artist.
time.
So you're talking about if you were to look at their entire roster, all the things that they have their fingerprints on.
Yeah, I would say it's quite accurate.
He said so much crazy stuff recently, Irv, but he's on point with this.
Is it fair to say that we talk about the Death Rows, Rockefellers, right? We know Rockefeller as its own.
It's defunct.
It's defunct, but we know it as its own entity, and we look at it like the rest of the labels, right? Like we always put Rockefeller up there. The Longevity Award 100% goes to Long and Cash Money because they've been successful for a long time. Star Power, though, I mean,
it's still Cash Money because you have to realize,
okay, that's
it's
what I
a
want to
three-headed monster that are the stars on Cash Money. Literally, you have Drake,
okay,
Nicki Minaj, and whether you want to say Lil Wayne is still at the top of his bars or not, there's a lot of people that still think he is and are still checking for him.
Drake, Pop,
but he has no
Snoop.
contractual ties to.
But I'm saying that are still making.
I got you. I follow you.
So that era is over.
Been over, but I'm talking when I say star power, I'm talking about legendary status. Like Cash Money got a handful of legends. What, like Drake? We call Drake a legend. Drake's a legend.
I mean, we talking
Wayne
about that. Def Jam has the biggest heap of legends that's out there.
That's the name I haven't heard yet. I haven't heard anybody say Def Jam.
But when you count Def Jam, do you get to count Jay-Z? Do you get to count Ja Rule, or do they get to?
I mean, if we count Young Money and we counting all that, then yeah, I'm gonna count that. If we're gonna do umbrellas, if we're gonna be fair,
Yeah,
right?
That is true.
So now
Def Jam literally started it and are still here, and not started. That goes to Sugar Hill Gang, but they started with like the mass appealing artists. So you had Run DMC, you had Beastie Boys.
Well, they were on
LL
profile.
Cool J.
It would be LL moving forward because Run DMC was on profile. They could
Well, not
at
Run
one
DMC.
point.
I meant to say Beastie Boys.
Beastie Boys.
yeah.
Because if we're gonna do the umbrella game, then Def Jam has to be in there.
Yeah,
They have to be in
they
there.
probably have the best track record overall. Cash Money is just on a tremendous run.
The run
And
is impeccable
They can
though. Like
pretty
it's,
much just credit it to Drake at this point. Even if you take Lil Wayne and Nicki out of the equation,
right.
Drake has been consistent for 10 years.
And Wayne already was a superstar before
Prior.
Drake really got popping.
Correct.
I'm talking about legend. We know like legendary status before Drake even assumed that position. If we being honest,
But there was a point in time where Def Jam had Method Man, Redman, DMX, LL Cool J,
right,
Moxie Brown.
Foxy Brown,
right.
who
Jay
else?
was on Def Jam.
Jay-Z. He kind of came later.
Yeah,
Q-Tip.
Q-Tip,
You tip it on Def Jam?
No, that was Violator.
Violator. I'm sorry. Yeah, Violator. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah,
Violator.
Who owns Violator?
that was a management group.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So it still might have been under Def Jam.
I think the
I thought it
Violator
was.
compilation.
They might be under
the
the-
Violator compilation. I believe came out under Def Jam though.
Yeah, it might fall under the quote unquote
That's
umbrella.
Chris Lighty.
Don't quote me on that because I
Yeah.
could
I think
be
Chris
wrong.
Lighty was Violator.
You know, Def Jam. If we're including, they at one point they had Ludacris, they had Scarface,
Def Jam South.
Yeah,
you know.
Fight for New York was all Def Jam artists for the most part.
True. That's why I was glad you said Def Jam because that was one I was going to bring up. I think they are the ones that can look them in the eyes and be like,
Put some
I
They
don't
even
know.
had Def Jam South for a minute, which Scarface was running.
Yeah,
True.
So
that
I
makes
would
it,
still,
that
I
makes
would
it
probably,
interesting.
I would still probably put Def Jam above them.
Absolutely. I would
You
probably
know.
say Def Jam is probably the
Best
king
label.
of the hill
King
when
of
it
the
comes to hip hop labels.
I don't know who's on Def Jam today.
Nah, I couldn't tell
But
you.
I
If
still
Def
know
Jam
who's on
today.
Cash Money.
If
To their
Def Jam
point.
is even still a thing, it
Well,
could,
Crit was on Def Jam for a while. It didn't work out for him.
True.
I remember that.
True.
And somebody just got signed to Def Jam here recently within like the past month that I can't even think of. I can't remember.
I don't know. I know DMX's last album was on Def Jam.
Mm-hmm.
I think Redman. I think they've re-signed people as legacy artists.
Mm-hmm.
But as far as like, yeah, that's, you know, because it used to be like, man, if you get to Def Jam, you know,
Oh, that was the
you
thing.
on your way.
Yeah, that was on. That was
You
the
know.
thing.
I wonder if they.
I think the
Lori
last one
was on Def Jam at one point in time.
I mean, the Roots were on Def Jam.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Long.
I was gonna say, I wonder if like those labels really have to do a lot of like breaking new artists anymore because they got so much legacy music that's probably racking up money.
It's probably not necessary. If
And
we're
then
being honest.
younger people we've had this
Well,
conversation.
Snoop has a
aren't really
connection with
looking
Def
for.
Jam. Snoop, I forgot
Yeah.
about his whole thing with Def Jam.
Yeah, they're not even looking for record labels to sign them no more. They just want to get popping on their own on Instagram and then
Yeah.
The
It's,
labels-
it's,
to something.
it's people our age still trying to rap want to get
Yeah.
signed to Def Jam.
There's really no need to.
But,
yeah.
what you say, Long?
No, we don't need that anymore.
Be like, I'm trying to get on Def Jam. I'm putting out a
Chronister
mixtape.
said Benny the Butcher's with Def Jam.
Oh, okay. Good call. Good call. I didn't even
Okay.
think about
Put some
that.
respect
Yeah.
on my name.
My name.
Yeah, he got a little. The voice broke up a little bit on that
He
name.
said it 3 times this segment, so he's in there.
No, man, I'm.
Anytime you just try to disrespect Birdman, he's
put respect on his
he's
name.
gonna pop out.
But as it relates to Cash Money, I like that everyone is at least acknowledging it's legit conversation.
Yeah, it's not far fetched at
Yeah,
all.
it's a
No,
legit
no,
conversation.
Like, yeah, he didn't completely jump out of the window like he's been doing.
Mm-mm.
I mean, baby's the
We know
goatest
what
jumping out.
label ain't in that conversation.
Who was that?
Murder Inc.
Not even close.
Well, because it would Murder Inc. with Ja Rule, Ashanti, and Black Child be under
I mean,
Def
you
Jam.
might as well just say Ashanti and Ja Rule.
Yeah.
Irv Gotti's the one who's like still in love with somebody,
Ashanti.
right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
He was like, I'm at home with my wife, and I see Ashanti on TV, and I'm heartbroken
Yeah.
Jeez.
One to
because he's
grease
hanging
her
out with
ankles.
Nelly. I was like, dude, I would have kept all that to myself.
Yeah, just
Nelly was petty too. They
Out here
got
bad.
together. He was hugging on her and stuff. I'm like, man, this is
You
extreme.
ain't got to be petty to do that. You seen Ashanti lately?
hey,
Sure have.
Yeah, well, there you go.
things get better in time.
Aging like what the old folks say, like
Fine
fine
wine.
wine.
Cricket juice.
You heard Maya.
Maya
Yeah,
as well.
Maya was somewhere in Indiana recently.
He was
Yeah,
in
up north.
Yeah, shout
saw her with Cheech.
shout to Cheech Beats. Yeah,
Yeah, I saw Cheech. Yeah, Cheech at the photo.
Yeah, it's nice.
Mhm.
He's a lucky man.
You know,
Yeah, he's a lucky man.
somebody else, I'm pretty sure their hair smells nice.
Yeah.
That's some creepy. That's some
Is that
creepy
creepy?
Yeah,
It's creepy,
I
right?
don't see. The thing is, like, this is the thing when I'm 45, and your smoothness turns into creepiness the older you get. So,
Oh, that's
It's
how
like,
we.
hey,
That's
baby,
how it
your
works.
hair smells good. What?
you know,
The
just
girl, we
like
smell your
when we
hair.
were talking about who we would pay money to see backstage, and I said Jill Scott, and I said her hair probably smells nice.
Yeah, I remember that.
Yeah, so
I was kind of like,
Is that what? And then you turn and
I'm not ashamed.
first of all, Jill Scott fine. So
Yeah, she out there.
yeah, I don't know.
It's
about,
it's going to be a real resurgence for concerts in this upcoming year, I think, because
You
I
think?
saw a lot of announcements for people getting back on the road with these
do we-
restrictions lifted.
Do we see
Mhm.
with
fully lifted?
with you saying fully lifted? In terms from a restriction
Shout out to Keith
standpoint,
Murray.
I see what you did there.
do you?
In terms of that, with fully, okay. I was going. Never mind. That would have been bad. With the restrictions, right? Is the worry or the thought still going? Is it going to disappear?
It's already gone.
It's already gone.
It's
man.
already
I'm talking
gone.
about.
In the United States,
Oh.
it's already gone.
So you 100% is already out the way. To your point, Lone, it's funny you said that. I went to the store today. I usually rock a mask when I go to the store. I asked the young man up front. I said, "Hey, bro, you got a mask?" He said, "We don't keep them up here anymore." It was at Meyer.
Mm-hmm.
He said, "We don't hand them out anymore." They used to have them stacked up in a box.
Oh
where
yeah,
you could get
because you couldn't get into the store without one.
Yeah.
Now he's like, "Nah, man, we over that. We don't do it anymore." But he had a mask on.
Even
I was like, okay.
I mean, I was in the airports. Like even at the airport, not.
How many did you didn't see it that regularly, right?
No, I mean it was still. I think there were more people wearing it than pre-pandemic, right?
Okay.
But you gotta realize it's still. I mean, we're in flu season and stuff. I think people are more self-conscious of that stuff now, and I think people feel less self-conscious of wearing a mask even when they want to feel. Like I wore it sometimes whenever it's like somebody sitting next to me would cough or something. I'm putting a mask up.
I ain't mad at you.
Like no,
I will
like,
put it on while you're coughing.
like there
I will put it on.
was a kid that was sat across the aisle from me. It was all
Snotty nose.
booger nose, and I was like,
Yeah.
put
Your
my
little
mask
snotty
on.
nose
He
butt
probably
over-
was like, "Can I play with your frog? Do you have a frog?" Nose
Yeah, my
running.
frog is sick because you over here putting boogers and stuff on it, man.
Little dusty kid away from me.
But like when I was in Ecuador, I mean, we wore a mask pretty much everywhere.
The rules are different over there, though, right?
No.
Oh,
No,
it's-
people just have more. People care about each other.
That's
more.
what it is. People,
It's nasty out here, man.
What I mean, look, I wore.
I mean, not everybody, but in most places we went, we wore it. At least,
Yeah,
you know,
America's
super nice.
nasty.
Are
I've
you-
seen the
is that-
motliest hawker in the bathroom today.
What?
It's supposed. I
Like
shouldn't have
Motley
been.
Crue?
It was just very motley and just disgusting. I was like, somebody really spat that right there.
Got
Like
all-
really
So proper.
Got
just
that good
disgusting.
like blood up.
Oh, no, we're not doing
It was motley.
I wasn't gonna
Jack.
say blood, but
Hey,
that.
it was
I wore a
disgusting.
mask.
It looked diseased.
Last time I was in,
look disease.
last time I was in the bus station. That's because the bus station smells weird.
You better wear one in the bus station.
Indy bus station is rough. I'm not sure if y'all.
Top
I mean,
5 rough.
I mean, you know, because you get to St. Louis bus station, it might as well be an airport.
Really?
Compared to, I mean, because it was a fight. You know, and what's wild is it's right next to Lucas Oil Stadium.
Yeah, man.
You know,
You gotta be careful going to the bathroom at the bus station in Indianapolis.
nah, I'll wait till I get home.
It's
There
the
you
same
go.
bus station that Martin was at. Remember when you was trying to catch the bus?
Trying to get home for the holidays, yeah.
Old lady had all that food.
It get
But they was
mysterious
cussing
in
him
the
out.
one here.
No, it
straight up.
because it used to be, and like this is so bad. No, I think I told my bus station story like when I was coming home and there was a bunch of convicts who just got released, and this one dude was like, you know, you're talking about the things they missed from being free, and one dude was like, yeah, man, you know, I miss just not being able to go to the bathroom when I want, and I was like, yeah. And then another dude was like, yeah, man, I miss not being able to play like PlayStation 2 or 3. This was a long time ago. And then the other one was like, yeah. Oh, yeah, and I miss my kids.
Oh yeah, and
I know
yeah.
some
Oh, I
people
forgot.
like that.
That was a distant third behind going to the refrigerator and playing PlayStation.
I know some people like that.
Yeah, that's true.
They're just down bad as parents. Do better.
You know, it's you got a lot of things to reconcile once you are on the outside.
Hey.
When you're no longer behind them walls.
Did you guys listen to apparently 2 Kendrick songs leaked?
Yeah, they were from the To Pimp a
Pimp-
Butterfly era.
Yeah.
I
didn't
missed it.
listen
I didn't
to
get a chance to peek.
Yeah, I didn't either. I was just curious.
I might have to listen to those
Hey,
now that you said that.
Leaked.
What do you think about this?
What's up?
Missy Elliott received an honorary doctorate from Norfolk State
That's her
University.
second one.
You give them some money or something? I'm not trying to be facetious, but that's usually how you get one.
She donated $20,000.
She's from Virginia. She donated some money.
I guess that makes sense.
Yeah.
I ain't mad at it. If she donated to the school.
They've given worse people honorary degrees.
What were you thinking, Lone? The concept of the honorary degree, or
I think it's corny.
you do?
Yeah.
She ain't gonna try to get a job with it. It's not.
No,
like
I know. I-
She
you
needs
know?
one.
It's another reason why I think it's corny. Like,
Yeah.
you don't deserve it. Just leave it for the people that actually put the work in. You put work in other areas.
I mean, people could give honorary doctorates,
it's
which
just
is crazy.
It's just stupid.
and then there are the people who get them. They want to be called doctor.
Yeah,
So
put some respect on my name.
Down.
You do know I have an honorary doctorate from
That's cool. Yeah. What'd you learn?
nothing.
That if you have enough money that you can buy degrees.
You sure
Hey.
can, and get yourself an honorary doctorate and walk around as a doctor.
Literally, the whole business of degrees is buying them, whether you got one honorary or not.
That's true.
That's a good one.
Well, there you
That is
go.
true. Especially in the United States of
Yeah.
America.
Yeah.
I don't even know if does the degree mean what it meant 10,
No.
15 years
Mm-mm.
ago? I don't
Mm-mm.
think so.
I've never shown an employer my degree.
They don't even ask for it. You can pretty much say whatever you want.
Yeah, you could say and there's they'll ask for certifications
Yeah.
Ah.
before they ask for a degree.
Yeah. Yeah. I've never shown them. I have. They're somewhere. I don't
Yeah, they'll ask for
spend
like
so much time on them and
certifications
don't even use them.
go a little bit further than degrees. It's kind of crazy when you think about it. Like if you
There was
took
a point in
if you
time
took-
where that was had more power. Way back.
yeah, but
it had
but
more
now like if
significance.
say you have your real estate license or you certified in Microsoft Network. You know, I'm not trying to. There are certain jobs they'd be like, you could have a degree in computer science, but
Straight
like
up.
yes, but are you certified in Windows NT or what? I don't know what this
Nah, for
Telling
sure.
you.
and to
You
actually
can just know how to tweet really well and can land $100,000 job in one of these companies just managing their social media.
just
This
not
is our
Twitter.
social media guy. He does all of our Twitter stuff. Here go
Mhm.
$100K.
No,
Thank
I
you.
mean, I've seen the argument about is college worth it, which is kind of
Yeah.
a crazy thing because we come from an era where college was definitely worth it.
Yeah.
Eh,
Well,
We were at the
I think
tail
we're
end.
on the tail end because
end
it used
of
to
it.
be like do your 4 years,
When we started,
get a job, work there for 30 years, get a retirement.
That was the program.
You know, but now most people
Literally the program.
It was
That
never
was
true.
sold
though.
around the world.
Most people haven't, I think I have maybe one friend who has the same job, who, about the same age, is, has the same job or been with the same company. He's been with, he interned with him and has been with him since he graduated from college.
My brother
that's
has.
impressive.
My brother's been with his job.
And
that's
he's
impressive.
definitely worked his way up, doing very well for himself. And I'm thinking about it. I was like, shoot, mess around and be able to retire in a few years. He's been with him that long.
People, yeah.
And this is one of those companies that you do your 30 years, you good.
Shoot, everybody I went to high school with, if they were in the military, they're about to retire from the military.
Wow.
And be straight.
Yep.
Or just like, I don't like, because now, I think about my mom taught in basically the same room for about almost 25 years. Even my friends who were educators, they move up and they move on. Like, people who have to make moves. Like,
Right.
because the thing is,
advance, you have to make moves in education.
because either you leave or they tell you to leave.
Mm-hmm.
When you're in corporate America, especially, like that's the thing. If anything I've learned in all my travels between non-for-profit and profit, like you better leave before they show you the door, and make a move. Even if you make a lateral move, leave before they put all your stuff in a box. I'll tell you the most cold-blooded thing that ever happened to me was they gave me I got a certificate. I'll say the name, Comcast, and I remember they wound up closing this entire building at one point after that. But they gave me a certificate. I come in, it's like, thank you for 1 year of service. 15 minutes later, they had all my stuff in the boxes. Like, yeah, we're done with this here. And I was like, what? And I realized
your time here is done.
They were bleeding the office, and like basically everyone I knew there was fired by Christmas. At least I had a little bit more time to kind of figure it out.
Mm.
But they basically fired everybody Christmas.
Yeah, that's what one of the main reasons I don't do anything corporate anymore. Which I made that determination a while ago. But it's I worked for a small company when I got out of college, and it was cool. It was fun. It was we were doing a bunch of cool stuff, and then income, big money interest, because that's eventually where you have to go.
Mm-hmm.
It's capitalism. Not to like be that person again, but it is
the
right.
Absolute truth.
And you're building,
especially if you're good at your job. They're looking at you to move out of the way, come on up into management, and then, you know what I'm saying.
Or let's get you out of the way so we can bring our person in.
But even in our situation, it was they bought out. It was what they wanted. The owner, we needed money, so the owner went out and he got some investors. And then they ended up pushing the owner out. I knew the owner personally.
The same thing happened to the company I was working at.
And then after
the
that,
majority share changed everything.
Yep. And then it just gradually changed up into the point to where we went under. And
I remember me and you
we
had
went under,
pretty much quit our jobs at the same time almost.
Yeah, I remember that.
Yeah.
So
it was a good time.
I don't know. I was broke for a very, very, very long time.
I had a pretty good time monetarily during that little period.
Well, I didn't, but I had great amount of credit card debt, so at least I had that to show for it.
Hey, at least you have something.
And then, but yeah, I've never went back to it, just because that, and then I tried it one more time when I was like lasering screws for a while, foot screws, and I was doing quality control stuff, and same thing happened. It was a small company, and it was just kind of like, it was just ran poorly, and I just like, man,
structure was trash.
It always ends up in the same place, and I was just like, I just don't want to be a part of this.
Well, and this sounds so arrogant.
I had the benefit to be able to do that, but
yeah, this sounds so arrogant, but like, I don't want to say I completely work for myself, but trust me, I'm not within the corporate structure anymore, but like one of the most frustrating things is when, like, because the last company I worked for, and they've in a way gone under as well, so I don't have to throw dirt on them. I would say, hey, this is a real problem. What's happening right here? You're screwing your customers, and eventually, like, this is not good. And they'd be like, oh, well, it's something we can take care of later. This, that, and the third. And then it just got to the point where it was like, I felt like I was working for people that I was smarter than, and like, why am I trying to help
Look at
them?
Long. I knew Long was
that's
why am I trying? Why am I
10.
trying to help them? And had they listened,
I just stopped going
to a little piece of what I said,
Yeah, I just stopped going.
I just stopped going.
Shout out to Office Space.
No, I'm dead serious. I just
they
stopped
would
going.
not have lost their Better Business Bureau rating.
Look, I didn't get fired and I didn't quit. I just stopped.
You
going.
just left
I just stopped going
on your own.
I did that for them.
These people are stupid. I'm out.
No, it was like, look, I was. Look, I mean, I'm not trying to like intelligent mark my boss, but I was smarter than him and I was more experienced. And well, I wasn't more experienced than him. That's the thing. But he just screwed up all the time. He lost us a whole bunch of money.
In a leadership position,
Yes.
which is bad.
Yeah. I mean, and granted, there's only two of us. There's the quality manager and me. And the owner brought me in to do more advanced stuff. But, you know, it got to a point where, like, he screwed up so bad that, like, we had to close one of our other shops like in Costa Rica or something. Or maybe...
Should have been fired.
I don't know. It was something like that. Anyways, I ended up... They were like, well, we have to lay you off. And I'm like, all right, whatever. Then they brought me back. Well, he called me and he was like, hey, well, I want to bring you back to do this other job. And granted, we're a super small company, like 6, 7 people, 8 people. And I'm like, and I knew the person that did the job before me. And I was like, well, I'll do it for this and I'll do it if I can do it part-time. And he was like, all right, we can do that. And so he did that. And I was still making less than the person the reason why they let the person go before me was because she was making too much money. And I'm just like, that's messed up. So I kind of felt bad for it, but I was like, well, I mean, whatever. So I was in an in-between space where I was trying to determine if I wanted to continue to try to do things on my own or, you know, find a job. But either way, yeah, after a while, the work started becoming a little spotty and I would have to reach out to them like, all right, so what's my schedule? And then I was just like, you know what? I'm just not going to reach out anymore. And I
want to go back anymore.
And I just didn't go back. I was like,
Shout out
screw
to
it.
Office Space.
Yep.
Hey,
I tried to.
Nah, dude.
Peter,
Nah, man.
Like I tried.
I believe you get your ass kicked for that.
Nah, man.
shout out to the chat. Anybody who stuck around or is still with us, we appreciate you. NewOldHeads.com, all the education you need this year. If you see it, like it, subscribe, sign up for it. Check our Patreon out as well. We really appreciate the support. I will be out next week, but I'll still see y'all next week. All right, peace.
Yep.
Minute.